IVM.
Hello, Ayushi.
Hi, Tash, and welcome back to our few listeners. I hope there's some regulars now.
Welcome back to another episode of Agla Station
Adulthood.
आज हम बात करेंगे एक बहुत ही अनोखे टॉपिक के बारे में. इतना भी अनोखा नहीं है, but it is a very common.
It's so stressful to us that you can see that the energy in Natasha's voice has just taken a huge hit.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
really
gone straight down.
apologize for my thandaness today. I'm genuinely nervous about this episode.
Yeah, I think this is the first one that we've been, till now, that we've talked about a lot, done a lot of research. One second, let's introduce the topic. Today we're going to be talking about money.
पैसा क्या बात है क्या चीज है पैसा क्या बात है क्या चीज
What is this song? I don't
तू
know.
पैसा पैसा करती है और पैसे पे क्यों मरती है.
Okay, but
It's a song.
I don't know the song. However, I did understand the line, which was great, is that we're talking about it, we live and die by it.
Boom, boom, boom. क्या
Done it.
deep lyrics लिखा है बॉलीवुड के एक मशहूर गाने ने. Okay, so money, Ayushi. Do you want to give us a little bit of a teaser? What's to come ahead in this episode?
Yes. So we're going to try a new thing. We're going to give you guys a little bit of direction as to where the episode's going to go.
Yeah.
For the next for the next segment, the first segment, it's going to be Tash and I talking about our personal experiences with money, the lack of it, and how it stresses us out. Hey, some days we have it, but that's the first half. We're going to get into how she and I navigate the different aspects of saving versus investing and how we kind of relate to this topic. And then in the second half, we have guests.
Expert people who will give you expert advice क्योंकि हमें कुछ आता नहीं सच में.
Yes, this is true. So we got two very young, dynamic, cool, smart ladies from Miss Manage, and they're going to be answering some of the questions that we asked on our individual Instagrams a few weeks ago. We had asked you what bothers you about money, and they're going to give us a few answers. But we'll get back to that later.
Yeah, अभी आयुषी बहुत advertisement जैसे sound कर रही है, तो मैं आ जाती हूँ दोस्तों. And money is always. I'm just going to dive right into this. I'm diving in, Ayushi, into money.
You should imagine you're diving into a
money.
pile of money.
Yeah. So पैसों के साथ relationship always like वो रहा है कि money does not grow on trees. Firstly, I've heard this line a zillion times growing up. This money is not growing on trees.
I'll tell you one stupid reply to this. You'll be like, it does. It's made from pepper. Yeah, no.
If you could see my face right now, if you could, listeners, you would know कि आयुषी ने बहुत गंदा joke मारा.
I agree. It was bad. I apologize.
Yeah, so that I was very clear from a young age कि like paisa is not growing on trees, but I also didn't quite understand कि it's something you have to earn, and for that you have to go to work. When I was really small, I was just like, what is money?
A lot. Means, please identify what age this was at where you thought that you don't have to go to earn money.
When I was a kid, like proper child, I didn't understand what is money. I just thought it was there.
Because
like,
services were provided to you by your parents.
Yes,
you did not have to think of where it comes from.
Fair.
It came from mom and dad.
Yes. Now I knew that then. Finally, I understood that. But the real test was when I had to start working and earning said money.
So you're at age 26 now.
Almost 27.
When did you start working?
I started, I think I got my first official paycheck when I was 17 years old. But
that's really young and probably against some child labor laws.
No, I was doing an internship at a drama company, and they had a few summer workshops. So I interned for 2 months with them.
You should put this out that there are paid internships, first of all. That is a rarity in itself.
No, it's now become a thing. Everyone specifies.
You think that it's very different in a lot of industries. There are still
अभी recently कोई call out हुआ is paid internship के चक्कर में. So now everybody is super alert. Like 3 months. I don't know. I don't want to take names. I also forgot because it was 3-month-old news. But somebody got called out, and since then everybody's like, we want interns, but we'll pay and all. People are scared.
Yeah, but they pay them like a what's like referred to as a stipend, which is for you to commute, which is not even sometimes enough to do that.
ठीक है.
Anyway, so you 17 first.
I got this
tell us more.
paycheck, and I was feeling very like, wow, oh my god, I have earned this money. Have I? Does this belong to me? And it did. I was pretty shook. And
what did you do with it?
What did I do with it? I don't really remember. I think I just deposited it and I forgot about it.
You didn't ball out?
No, I actually didn't ball out because I was like, oh, it's a small amount. It wasn't some large amount. So I was like, let me save it and keep it away.
So this was your first paycheck from something like an internship?
Yes.
What about from your first actualized or formalized job? Or a steady flow of employment? Which would that be? What age was that?
So now, since I am a freelance actor, as we all know, there's no such thing as steady employment, except for a time in my life when I appeared on a mashhoor popular daily soap called Bado Bahu. In that, I used to get a monthly paycheck, which I was like, very happy about. And the first few months, it hadn't hit me quite like just yet. Okay, this has also got a timeline. This gig, even though it's a daily gig.
I will say it did not hit her because the first couple of months when she got the salary, we were all so impressed.
I was very generous.
She was making this money. Tash was like, guys, sushi on me. Guys, I can pay. It quickly stopped.
I grew up being quite conservative about money and not spending too much. So finally I felt like I have earned this. I can blow it up on whatever few things that I want to spend on.
How sweet. You wanted to spend
my
it on
friends.
us.
Yeah.
Now you don't give me anything.
No. I have to pay rent and our real expenses now. मैं तुम्हें क्या दूंगी? So so then Bado Bahu happened, and then this monthly paycheck started coming in, but those first few months I didn't quite grasp that,
right.
I need to save money, or I need to be at least aware that this is what is going on and this money is not going to come and last forever. But at that time I felt like, oh wow, kitna paisa hai mere paas.
Yes, and also during that initial period when you just started, you hadn't moved out yet.
No.
You were still at home.
Yeah.
So a lot of, again,
yeah.
those, what do you call it?
Basic living costs.
Supplementary expenses weren't there.
Yeah.
Supplementary?
Not even, there were living costs I didn't have.
Again,
I wasn't
incurring
exist. My own living costs that time. So I was enjoying
shelter
like anything.
And food was provided.
Yeah, my basic needs on Maslow's hierarchy chart for supplied for.
I do feel like Maslow needs to change this. There are many different levels now, but that's maybe another
podcast entirely.
I do feel that maybe we should.
Why don't you tell us about your first paycheck instead?
Well, I used to work. I have worked while I was in college. I did waitress.
Oh, yeah.
And however, that entire, whatever I made from waitressing and working at my universities, like academic departments, we used to do work for them. And I used to, for my specific international relations department, I used to do some work. So I used to get paid from that as well, plus the waitressing. All of that money I used as personal expenditure.
Clubbing money?
No, travel money.
Because
I decided that even though my parents were paying for me to study abroad in a very expensive good school, I also wanted to have other adventures and other kind of experiences. But I did feel at that age it was, I did feel guilty for asking them that, hey, can you give me extra money so I can go and like while out on a beach in some foreign country and like really be a degenerate. I didn't feel that was right. Even though I've done it before, as I was growing up, I felt I should do this less and less.
Yeah.
Which is why I put myself, not put myself through that. That's the wrong way of saying it. I took up those jobs so that I could have this additional income with no strings attached to it. I was like, mera hai, I'm going. Bye.
Burn and burn.
I burned it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
But I kept telling myself I burnt it on experiences. So it was exciting.
Which is a good thing. Actually, so you say this, but it's a very big
thing
in our generation.
Yeah, we're going to circle back to this
yes.
based on another idea that we've had. Not idea that we've had, but
it was some article we read.
It's nonsense. So that was, I think, the first time I was getting money into an account. And then my first actual job, like once I graduated and I got that job, again, I got very excited that it was a steady paycheck. It was every month you were getting, the money was coming to your account and you had your own card, messages were coming to your phone. It was a whole new territory of not being responsible to anyone for your expenditures.
Yes.
You only had to tell yourself that I want this, so I'm going to buy it. I have the money, so I can afford it.
I want it. I got it.
Yes, which was dangerous.
Ariana ji, आप क्या सिखा रहे हो बच्चों को?
She's not
But सही है actually.
a role model, please.
No, she's cool. Anyway. another
she
topic.
Said, break
another
up
day.
with your boyfriend. I'm bored.
Rendo. No, Ariana's cool. I like her. Move on.
Okay. So yes, in terms of first paycheck, that was my progression. I now am at my second job. Again, as we've said in the past podcast, I have a very structured employment situation.
Yes.
I go to work. I have a monthly paycheck that comes in. I have certain responsibilities. I don't have days off or days where I'm not working at all, and then months of a lot of work like the freelance life. So for me, because I had this steady setup, it did make sense to start a savings account or to have a differentiation between a checkings and a savings account.
Oh, I only have one.
No, you know how actually this is a very foreign concept perhaps of this checkings and savings is certain part goes into savings and certain part is your checkings account which you can actively spend from.
Correct.
Then if you want to transfer back and forth between the accounts, it's different. But I thought the concept of having a separate
within one account to have two categories almost, so you can take from this and this is your daily kharche wala, and that is something which you only need when you need it.
Right. And unfortunately or fortunately for me, my financial advice came from my father.
But just very good, I feel, because your father has a lot of money.
Okay.
Not in a rude way, but like he's a good person to give advice. I'm really sorry. It sounded very wrong, but
yes,
he's okay.
He's worked for many more years than I have.
He has a lot of experience, actually. That's what I meant.
And he is involved with his own money and wealth that he has created. So he's very responsible towards it.
Which is
And
awesome.
that's an ethic, I think, that he was trying to pass on to me by kind of one day sitting me down about like 4 months into my first job, being like, okay, you've had 4 months. Grace period is over. So I was like, means I still have ordered many things online and it's cash on delivery. So grace period extends to next week. However, jokes apart, he sat me down and he said that, look, you have to start making certain
financial decisions.
Certain decisions that are going to help you in the future. Yeah. Which is when he told me about mutual funds.
Okay, so my parents are Than Gopal in this department.
Than Gopal means nothing.
No, as in they have no know-how. Like at least they didn't for a long period of time, and now everybody's kind of suddenly like becoming more sensible about it. So I did not, unfortunately, get a lot of financial lessons from my parents.
No, but that's the thing. The opposite happened. I will say I was lucky to get it from my father, but he didn't go into the specifics of it, or he didn't really go into explaining why I'm doing this or how it's going to help. He told me, look, this is what you need to do. Go out and research it and figure it out.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of Googling.
Okay.
And I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
Because
I don't understand anything about...
It's not easily... The information is not easily understandable for someone who doesn't come from a financial background.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a huge issue as to why when we ask those questions on Instagram, so many people had the same questions is, how do you invest? What is it that you should be? How much? How do you start? How do you go about doing it?
And should I even? And all these questions. And when you read about it, it's just a lot of words. And I get very, very intimidated by this jargon, financial jargon.
But now, see, Tash. Okay, now, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But being intimidated by something does not mean that you don't engage with it.
You're absolutely right, but Ayushi, I have to admit on national audio television that I take very little interest in my personal finances. Far less than I think I should.
Yes, because, okay, I plan to live off your success. No. So I need you to get with it. Means when you become big star.
When I become big star.
Big chap.
Big chap.
I will want you to do things for me. No, I'm kidding.
I found something which did help me actually is when I made friends from the same industry, but friends who are older. So that worked out for me very well because I spoke to actors in their late 30s or mid 30s and I was like, आप लोग क्या करते हो? मुझे कुछ नहीं आता. And I remember actually before Barabo even started, first that concept of I have to pay tax means what? I don't know. I've never earned enough money to pay tax. Ab main kya karu? So I've called every single person I know who has done CA की पढ़ाई, and I'm like, इसका क्या, what do I have to do? And I have been talked through it and I've still not understood. So then cut to, I've made friends with older actors and they've been like, babe, here's a financial advisor, just call him.
Okay, so this brings me to something that I was thinking about, is that you were talking about getting advice from older people,
yes,
right? So does that mean that the way you spend and save, how you used to spend and save, is now categorically different from how you act and spend and save now? That was a very poorly constructed sentence, but you understand what I mean.
Got it. पहले कैसे spend and save करते थे? How do you spend and save now?
हाँ. What is the main difference that you think you've...
I think my fizul ke kharche have come down because now I have fixed monthly outgoings in terms of rent, domestic help, light bill, phone bill, maintenance, travel charges, petrol,
right.
These things. That is 7 items I have just listed of my monthly fixed expenses.
So just to remind everyone, Tash has moved out from her parents' home. She lives independently.
Yeah.
She has a roommate, but she basically lives independently.
Yeah. And the thing is that to make this life manageable for myself, my way of saving is by living far away. So I pay less rent. As opposed to living in a Bandra or a Juhu, which I would have loved to, but it would have eaten into every penny I have.
Exactly.
So where would I have anything left? So I was like, chalo, jo bhi hai, main dur rahungi, but main khush rahungi. And that's what I'm doing.
That's I have a lot of respect and admiration for that. That's a huge decision that you took. That's a huge challenge that you took. And you're, touch wood, till now you're doing it pretty well. It looks, you're making it look at least that it's sab theek hai.
It's quite hunky-dory-ish.
Still waters run very deep.
Especially the dirty waters of Mud Island. But anyway, so yeah, this is now how I save. I save by not spending on maybe, I like for example, this year I have not taken a trip. Like I've not gone on a foreign vacation.
Okay.
And I don't think I will be able to afford it this year, but that's fine. So these are the things I have to sacrifice to have whatever else I have here in my day-to-day life.
I agree.
Yeah, and before I didn't have to think about the ghar ka kharcha, which is now the predominant chunk of my expenses. So before I could do maybe more dinners and more drinks and more nights out and maybe like movies and just all these things which
movies
add up.
Are very
movies, I have stopped going
expensive.
to the theatre because I'm like, you are looting me, you stop it. Sorry for shouting.
Volume.
I hate the cinemas for charging so much money. And what's that popcorn? Why is it so bloody expensive?
/ good.
It's delicious.
That makes you spend the money on it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my deal with pehle and
so it's a very basic difference is you don't waste money anymore.
I cannot.
Yeah, because you can't afford to. Quite simply. Yeah, exactly.
Now I have to, for the first time in my life, actually be wary of this is how much I have. This is my means. To live within your means, I'm understanding properly now.
Okay, do you feel that you're more secure in who you are and your lifestyle so that you don't have to keep up this appearance of keeping up with the Jones so that you're able to better save your money? I think that's something that I've found is that as you've grown up or as you get a bit older, you suddenly realize what's actually important to you and what your priorities are and how you want your life to look like.
Absolutely.
So I also feel that I've been able to take a step back on certain activities and certain peer pressure and certain aspects of your social life and external life.
Absolutely.
To say that, look, I can't do this because I want to do this in 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that call right now to not have to keep up with this, whatever that expense is. And I understand that right now I'm talking to a very specific section of society that feels that they need to keep up with certain appearances. But I do feel that crosses against a lot of people that you sometimes make expenses and you have a certain lifestyle because you do feel like you have to keep up with someone.
Of course.
And that you want to not
or
appear
not that you
to
want
have.
to keep up also, but you just want to be part of something maybe because
right,
that's what your like social life is so important maybe to some people, and they don't want to lose out on that special time with their friends, and they feel maybe that, oh, if I don't spend this money and if I don't go to XYZ places, FOMO quite literally, and that, oh, maybe they will stop being friends with me. Because whether we like it or not, social groups do get made based on like
activities.
Economic structures
but also activities, group activities. If you don't go for the activities anymore, after a point it's going to be like,
stop calling you.
You know, she doesn't really come, so there's no point.
Yeah.
But
you do you, yeah. Actually, decide what's important for you and what you need.
But that has helped me.
Yeah.
I think that's really helped me in terms of I don't think I want to come here anymore because it's too expensive.
And just to be truthful about it, exactly. Instead of
hey guys, don't make anyone feel uncomfortable to the point where they can't tell you that they can't afford a place.
Which is, I feel like, it's a great one also. Kyunki bolti band, they will not even trouble you being like, come please, come. I just can't. I don't have. I don't want. I can't. Right now, bhi nahi hai, paisa nahi hai abhi.
Yeah.
It's
best.
a
good one.
Yeah.
But is there any other sort of aspect that you feel that makes your relationship with money a bit complicated? Do you think that there's anything that you struggle with very, very fundamentally?
It could go into a weird territory now because money is... So there's a saying, and I'm just going to say it. My mom says it all the time in Gujarati. Lakshmi chanchal che. Like,
yeah.
Lakshmi is chanchal. She's fickle, exactly.
The goddess of success and money is fickle AF.
Yeah. So now you have it, now you don't. So since childhood, I've heard these stories about people who had a lot of money and then they lost everything. Or people who had nothing and then they got a lot of money. So it's always been like, okay, we have it today, you never take it for granted. And that's why somewhere in the back of my head, there's a nagging feeling of, sure, I have faith in myself that I will be able to give myself the life I want financially and materially, which is not the most important thing. But for me, it's important so that those basic needs are taken care of. Then I can focus on spiritual growth or experiences of life or all that.
You're right. This has gone into a weird territory.
Yes, because for me, finances need to be handled so that I can pursue my evolution as like a person. And sometimes I doubt my own capabilities. I sometimes worry, what if I'm not able to? And then I can't go on to pursuing whatever else.
But
that I don't know now. I've thrown a googly at Ayushi.
No, it's not a googly. I understand. I mean, it's what you've explained is you've explained it very clearly. It's not difficult to accept that as it's logical.
Yeah.
You have a fear that you're not going to be able to give yourself the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah.
That's basic. I think most people's fear and insecurity in general when it comes to money.
Yeah.
I do think, however, that let's circle back to what we were going to talk about was that article that you shared with me about how people are going from traditional wants and desires of purchases to now a very different kind of... Like the article basically said that young people aren't buying houses or buying cars anymore.
We're a generation of renters.
And why buy a car when you can call an Ola and he can drive you somewhere? Why buy a house when you can rent?
Although don't call an Ola now, Chetan Bhagat might be in the car with you.
That's dangerous. That's fundamentally dangerous because I would have to kill myself to get out of that situation. Nah?
I've deleted Ola. I look like Chetan Bhagat, by the way. The internet seems to think I'm a doppelganger of Chetan Bhagat. Anyway, moving on.
Tangential, but... what was I saying?
So they're a generation of renters, and why do this when you can do that?
It's moving towards spending your money on experiences.
Yeah, rather than everyone wants to be flexible geographically and now, such a nice line in the article. I've totally forgotten, even though I tried to mug it up.
While you're saying, she nearly fell off a chair right now. Sorry. While you're saying that that was a good line, I was going to say that it was a very, very poorly written article. It was misleading. It was naive. It was stupid. And it gave a very, very wrong perception of what life is going to be like. I think that there's a lot of these op-eds that people write where they're like, oh, you don't have to worry about certain things. You can just spread your wings and fly.
Also, because I don't think it was targeted at Indian youth, no?
No.
That article was written specifically bearing in mind, I think, a more Western demographic.
But we keep making the same mistakes that the West make, and we revere those lifestyles and those standards and goals. Whereas, not that I'm saying I'm some Sati Savitri, that I don't prescribe to lifestyles of the Western world. That's not at all true. I'm so very modern, very Western. But what I meant is that article said a lot of things about who needs to have a savings account when you can have an experience account.
It's like a thought catalog.
I cannot.
Listicle.
If I could hit something here, I would, but all the stuff is very expensive, so I'm not going to gesticulate very wildly. However, that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And this entire idea that money can't buy happiness. Okay, Yes, very literally, you can't go to the bank and say, I would like to withdraw happiness. However, money gives you certain abilities to create securities which will provide you peace of mind, which is a way of happiness.
Peace of mind chahiye, actually.
It's not about the rat race. It's not about having a better car or a bag. It's about tomorrow, are you going to be able to take care of your health, both mental and physical? Are you going to be able to provide the same lifestyle and experiences for your family? Whatever that family looks like, whether it's with children or with cats and dogs, with a partner, without a partner, your family, whatever that is. And are you going to be able to have a long life without it being impeded by not having the means to success? I'm sorry that's a complicated sentence, but it's very important for people to know.
I am clapping inside my head right now.
Whether you told me this morning, she told me that our podcast is coming across as preachy. Matlab hone do, I want to preach this.
Oh God, Ayushi is a pastor.
No, like what is this nonsense being told to people that no. Like you must only look at experiences. Who is paying for these experiences? Free mein koi nahi de raha. Like you have to pay for the experience.
Yes.
So you want something. You have to work for it, you have to save for it, and you have to create the net underneath you that if something goes wrong, you can fall into that net.
Yes.
Yes, you can rent, but tomorrow your landlord tells you, get out, you lose your job. Where do you go? What is your security? I know people in my own family where they've lived that life, and then there was a phase where it was traumatic because if you don't have a steady income, how are you going to pay rent? Of course, that logic can be used for how do you pay a mortgage as well when you buy a house or a car, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
But think about it. It's the same thing, right? I hope that people don't take these articles and these thought catalogs and this soup pancake and soul pancake and all these things to heart and think that you can just be a thistle in the wind for the rest of your life. It doesn't work like that.
It don't work like that.
It doesn't. And this doesn't matter what strata of society you're at. Whether you're Ambani or you are working as staff in someone's home, that I don't think any of them are like, you don't need money, just buy experience. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry. I will take that hard line.
On that note, is there something else you want to discuss?
No, बहुत serious हो गया. Let's take a break.
I think we should take a break.
Sorry.
Okay, that was bhari. I think we should go into a little break. And when we come back, we will have with us Mohini and Natasha.
Who are not so bhari.
They are real experts and they'll be able to talk to you about some technical things. Be right back.
Hey everybody, you know what we've got? We've got another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So if you haven't been following us on YouTube, please do a search for IVM CCTV and get a peek inside what's going on in the studio. You can see excerpts from Cyrus Says, Naveen from Keeping It Queer, Akash from Varta Lab. There's stuff that we've done with Feeding 10 Billion. There are a whole bunch of little videos over there. Give it a watch and let us know what you think about that. This week on Cyrus Says, it's a podcast crossover as hosts of our new show, GBCD Farhad Karkaria and Sunitra Lairi join Cyrus to talk about the meaning of being queer, how to define labels and how their podcast came about. Also, speaking of GBCD, Farhad and Sunitra in their show delve into the family stories and recalling what it was like to navigate queerness as a kid. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by two guests, Ankur Chaudhary and Swapnil Bhaskar. They're the co-founders at Goldwise. They discuss the new features at Goldwise and transitioning from regular to direct mutual funds. On Golgappa, Trupti is joined by Mahesh Ane, award-winning cinematographer who is known for his work on Swades. He talks about the ups and downs that he encountered along the way in the film industry. On Ganatantra, Alok and Saryu are joined by Smitana Saikia of Flame University, Pune to talk about the history and impact of the NRC list and how it has caused marginalization in the Northeast. On another crossover, this time on What a Player, Mikhail and Siddhartha are joined by Sivram Parmeswaran, the host of the podcast Football Shitball. They talk about the thrill of watching football and following a club. On Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Janice and Anirudh look back at the best and worst moments of the 2019 Emmy Awards. On Advertising is Dead, Varun is joined by singer-songwriter Ankur Tiwari, who talks about how artists find new forms of expression and monetize their work. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
All right, guys, welcome back to Agla Station Adulthood. Topic is finance, money.
Money.
Paisa.
Money.
Sometimes I feel like Adnan Sami, like that lift kara de.
Bangla motor, gaadi dila de.
I use that GIF or GIF so much sometimes if I'm talking to my parents and I just send it to them, I'm like,
lift kara de. Hilarious.
Very sad.
So, Ayushi, I want you to Applaud, but not right now. It'll with the audio. But let's put our hands together for Mohini Mahadevia, who is our resident expert today. She is one of the youngest certified financial planners in India.
Oh my God.
And she's the founder of SOLUFINTM Financial Planners. And Mohini, just give us a quick hello.
Hello.
And
Hi.
now I'll ask you more questions about what you do specifically in a hot second after I introduce my girl, my friend, Natasha Kewalramani, who is the founder of this wonderful, what should I call it, Natasha?
Platform.
It's a platform.
Community.
It's a community. Yeah, it's called Miss Manage, but like MISS space manage. And Miss Manage will help you with your specific money matters. I have been to a seminar organized by Miss Manage, and I really enjoyed it. I was very informed by the time I came out. Of course, my brain didn't retain much of that information.
No, but she was, because she texted me the minute after saying, listen, we have to go for one of these sessions.
Yeah. I was really quite happy about that. So yes, Natasha, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Now, if I have not done a very good job with introducing the both of you, I think you all should pipe in and inform the listeners about any details I may have missed out on.
So I kind of feel like, Natasha, you got it wrong. I'm not really a financial expert, but I definitely am as clueless as you and Ayushi when it comes to my money. Like, I've always been in philanthropy or charity or thought of social impact and passion more than money. And then when I started my own business, I realized, shit, I'm so bad when it comes to my accounts, when it comes to paying salaries, things like that. So I felt like I needed to get clever really quickly, which is why I started Miss Manage, because I needed help like this myself. Finance is really intimidating, and we thought that it could be fun. You need it in your life. Yeah. So I started Miss Manage, and it's been great.
Amazing.
And through Miss Manage, we obviously find amazing people like Mohini.
Yes. Mohini, yeah, you tell us.
Mohini is the most
also.
qualified person in this room right now. Let's just put it out there.
So what I basically do is, see, we all earn money, right? That's what we're all working for. Once you earn the money, you forget about how to handle it. So it's important that you decide where to spend, how much to save, where to invest. So that's precisely what I do. My job is to give gyan to people about what to do with the money they've earned.
I would like your personal number.
Yeah, if she needs some help.
Personal number, okay.
Means not for the listeners right now, but I will be taking it.
Don't you worry.
So that's a good intro to where you guys are coming from. And this is something that we, a couple of weeks ago, actually whenever this airs, so yes, a couple of weeks ago, we asked questions on our Instagram and Twitter and IVM's handle, that if you have any questions that you would like to get answered from people who are qualified like Natasha and Mohini about your finances, saving and investment. So we had a lot of questions. I was very surprised as to how many people were as clueless about things as I was, and it made me feel quite happy actually. I'm like, oh,
Same boat.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of questions, and we've tried to put them in categories, so we've covered most of the bases. Tash, would you like to start us off with the first question?
Yeah, so feel free to take this, whoever, Mohini or Natasha. How much should I save?
This is coming from the entire country.
Okay, so I have to be preachy to start off with, because thoda professional responsibility. So ideally, how you should think is income minus savings, in whatever is left is what you spend. But let's be real, that is not always possible. Depending on what stage of life or your career you are at, it's a very variable figure. There are times wherein it's possible to even save up to 60 to 70% of your salary. Huh? So there's no limit. No, it depends on how much you earn. I'm just going by a general average. Okay. But an ideal target should be at least about 25%.
Okay.
But if you've got scope for more, you should definitely save as much as possible right now, because later on when you have responsibilities, fixed outgoings, as you guys were discussing in the first segment, it's not possible to save so much.
Yeah.
Fair.
I feel like realistically, again, it depends which part of your journey you are in when it comes to your money. But like a good rule of thumb is anything upwards of 10% is golden. Yeah. And a lot, like I feel like it's not really about the numbers or the income or where you are, but it's about healthy habits in life. Yes. Whether it comes to money or it comes to work or just being good with your friends, adulting
Everything.
in general.
Yeah. It's a good, healthy adulting practice.
Yeah, you
actually.
kind of realize when you grow up that it all boils down to habits.
Absolutely.
And any amount that you can save and then slowly convert that saving or that budgeting into investing is always a good trajectory to be on.
Money should be making money, I said this last time.
Yeah.
Oh God, I've really come across as a terrible person.
Money.
I like money.
We all like money.
I'm not embarrassed.
Everyone say it with us. We love money.
This was very sad.
Notice how we all said like and Natasha said love money.
I don't love money. It's a positive affirmation I put out.
By the way, you should know Tash is not someone who likes or dislikes. She loves or less loves things.
Right.
No hate.
No hate.
Ah.
What? You have no... This Buddha is over here. No hate. Only breathe and love. Okay. I guess a follow-up question that we also got is, how do you manage money during the end of the month? Because that's usually a tough time for most people.
Correct.
So what's your advice?
Which is when your accounts generally bottom out. So that is a little too late to act. A good thing to do is to set off a certain amount aside at the beginning of your month of the month. The moment you get a paycheck, decide, say maybe 10%, 8%, 15%, whatever. Set aside that amount, transfer it to another account, or use some other avenue which can be discussed in detail separately. But set that aside so that you cannot lay your hands on that money. Use that money only when you run out of funds and there's really no money. And for God's sake, do whatever, but do not turn to credit cards to fund your deficits at the end of the month. That's just going to snowball into something really big.
There's a follow-up. I totally want to interrupt you there, because we had another question I'm reading it out, is I want to really know how does having multiple bank accounts help, and even multiple cards?
Yes. So I think you discussed this briefly in your first segment as well. There should be one account where all your income comes. I'm generally talking about like a salaried structure. So you have your salary account. All your main kharchas and expenses can go out of that particular account. There should be one account separately which is not linked to that salary account, because what happens is when you change a job, right, every company is going to have a different bank that they work with. So for example, if you've got investments going out of a particular account, if you don't have a separate account for your investments, every time you change your job, you have to update all those bank accounts everywhere.
Tips and tricks.
So there should be one separate account from where all your investment outgoings go. 2 accounts is like a good average to have. You can also have maybe a third account which can be like your petty expenses account, which in a way helps you to budget.
Okay.
So essential kharche ho gaye, all your lifestyle expenses, luxury, all of those things, you can always set a limit to that. Wo account ho gaya, it's bottomed out, then there's no money left to spend, so you don't end up overspending.
So I feel like what helped me, because I have 3 bank accounts, and then to just like the pros of having bank accounts is like you can divide up where you spend and keep track of that, but then you also have to be so sorted with your paperwork in terms of like keeping your account details in place, putting your passwords,
pins,
expiry dates,
card pins.
My mind would not be able to handle it.
Guys, Excel sheet is my best friend.
I need to learn.
I'm so organized when it comes to this stuff. But on the topic of credit cards, I think that credit cards are an absolute no-no for people who don't have a steady income and aren't responsible with their money, because it's so easy to get carried away. But I use credit cards, and I know that the classic mistakes that I make when having credit cards is I pay my bills on time. Guys, never do that. The interest is so high on credit cards.
So you have to pay your minimum, right?
You pay your minimum, and you should pay that. But if you delay your last due date, and if you extend that actually is one of the highest interest rates.
It's
on
between
the
30 to 40% a year,
which is really high
if you don't pay your credit card bill on time.
Yeah, and those are classic money mistakes that I used to make, which I've stopped making now.
Wait. I think this was not clear to me, so I'm going to ask. You're saying to pay it on time, right?
Yes.
Pay it on
And
time,
pay
pay the minimum bill amount, the minimum due.
Right,
but if you're young and irresponsible with your money, you kind of just say, okay, it's not that high a bill. So, okay, 2 days delayed, 3 days delayed. But the actual difference, like the percentage on that is so high. So if you're irresponsible with your money, don't use credit cards.
And you said that the difference can be in the ballpark of 30 to 40%.
That's the interest that they charge on delayed payments. So they charge between 3.5% a month.
Right.
In fact, coming to the topic of minimum payments, if you have the money, just clear out your whole bill, because you don't get penalized for the balance amount, but interest does get charged on that as well a lot of times. Plus, defaulting on your credit card payments can pose a problem in future when you sort of need like a car loan or a housing loan.
Absolutely.
So, in fact, this credit card thing, like you said, if you're irresponsible with your money, don't have a credit card, or you're kind of advising a little bit against that structure of spending. However, from what I've understood is you should have a credit card to create and generate credit for yourself.
Yes.
Because in the future, when you want it, you need it as collateral against something.
So having a credit card is a basic way to create a credit history.
Yeah.
So till the point you've never borrowed, there are credit rating agencies that rate how safe you are to give a loan. So that is one major aspect. Another aspect, if you're not on that side of the spectrum where you cannot control your expenses, credit cards are often good to pay off make a lot of payments. When there are discounts available. Plus, if you
and points,
and
draw you in with this points.
Exactly. The points and like a crazy range of loyalty benefits are available. Plus, you can use these to pay off your utility bills,
right?
And take advantage of that free credit period. So if you time it well, you end up saving your interest on. You end up earning interest in your bank account for say about 15 to 20 days, which can be a good amount.
It's something that you don't have to pay immediately. You can buy yourself 21 days or 27 days
so you pay
to kind of pay that amount.
You pay your utility bill say on the 5th of every month. The credit card payment due date is say the 25th or the 30th. So those 20 days ke liye your money is earning interest.
Time.
Okay, I have a follow-up personal question. If is it okay if that difference is like 6 days between my major expense, like say I pay rent and then my credit card bill is due on like the 7th of the month and my rent is due on the 1st?
It depends on the amount, to be very honest. It's more about creating that sort of habit. Plus the nature of the expense. You cannot pay all your expenses by credit card, like rent, for instance. I mean, I know it's just an ad hoc example, but I doubt you can really pay your rental.
Oh, so I've started paying my rent via credit card.
Okay, so if you have that...
Wait, you can do that?
You can.
Who accepts
I guess it depends on the landlord.
No, so it goes into the landlord's account as a normal bank transaction.
Correct.
But it gets charged to your credit card through a website. For example, you use a
like a
third
payment
party.
platform.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Correct.
like a...
Because I was thinking as a
broker
landlord,
or something.
As a landlord, I would not want you to pay.
No,
on
they
credit.
don't know. They get money
They
normally.
are not really...
Oh, they don't know.
As in, they don't even know you paid by credit card. They just get the money.
Correct.
Yeah, it's the relationship between you and the bank.
Yes.
Not really you and the landlord.
Oh my God, my relationship with my bank is my most deep, intense one I have.
Yeah, okay, so sorry, I cut you with that. But
Correct. Yeah, so I mean, if the number of days is less, it really depends on how big the amount is.
Okay.
Because, I mean...
So if it's not that large an
that's
amount,
okay
it's okay.
Then. Yeah. So 15 to 20 days is a good enough time period. 5-6 days it is a time period, but not that great.
Okay.
But having said that, like if you're good with your money and if you're responsible and like you have everything in order, credit cards are so great for loyalty points, like perks, like
airline miles you get now.
Exactly.
You get access to your lounges.
Everything.
Exactly.
Then you can earn and go for that experience because your credit card has got you that.
Yeah, not to mention they also have Book My Show deals. So I can get free movie tickets.
Go for a movie.
Yes.
And I get cash back. So that's also great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
and
somebody explain cashback. What's cashback? How does it work?
So they have a lot of these promotional offers. They've got these budgets which they can either spend on like marketing or they can pay the money to you.
Okay.
So that's the fundament. It varies from company to company. But if I tell you that, okay, you see a big hoarding vis-a-vis, I'll give you money to use my platform to make a payment or buy stuff. It's that sort of a thing.
So kind of basically people do it so to get more users.
Yes. So if you guys have, I mean, I'm sure you guys have realized initially when Paytm was new, the cashbacks and the offers used to be crazy. They've reduced over a period of time because
people started
they'll
using
shut down if they continue with those offers.
Correct.
So in fact, you should be on the lookout for these new payment platforms because every time there's a new payment platform coming up, they have crazy offers.
But I feel like because I'm a little bit risk averse person in this thing, like I don't want to keep signing up for payment platforms because I think first of all to keep track of all of these things is very hard.
Correct.
Also you're kind of really exposing yourself to a variety of different users, right? Or no, am I just being very conservative?
So your data is eventually going to get shared across the board. So if that is your apprehension, that's...
We knew that, though. Everyone kind of already knows that inside their heart of hearts.
So you
no one is safe. No one is safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But,
so you wanted to say something?
Yes. There's one more thing I want to add. There are a few apps that are coming up. There are a few websites that reward you for making your credit card payments on time.
Such as?
Like
Cred. Cred, exactly.
I tried to use Cred. You need to, a disclaimer, you need to use your credit card for at least 3 months. And if you don't have any credit score, you can't use Cred, because I literally just got my credit card a month ago. So I need to use it for 3-4 months before I can use Cred.
Right, because you have to build up a credit score for it.
Shall we go out?
Right.
You're looking to spend?
No.
Sushi.
No problem. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take something a little bit different in aspect is somebody asked, what's the best way to save up for finances to travel? So how do you save to travel? Because I read this one thing that the first thing when the economy is doing well, actually travel is not what people reach out for, especially in a conservative economy like India. You look for savings, so that people put their money in gold and investments and things. And the first thing to get cut when an economy is in downturn is also travel, because it's a luxury you don't want to spend on it. So as an industry, how much, like if you wanted a budget, how would you start saving for that?
So the first thing to do is you have to drop that mindset that I'll travel whenever I feel like. Agreed, it sounds very idealistic and very Ranbir Kapoor movie, and we all want to...
I love that movie. I was conned by it.
Sorry.
But you need to have certain realistic measures. See, I mean... like a plan in place. I want to travel 3 times a year, twice a year, once a year. If you don't have that in place, you don't know what you're saving for. If you don't take that holiday, fine, roll that money over to your next one. But have a budget in place, have the frequency in place, and then what you can do is, for example, if I want to take, say, a holiday that's going to cost me ₹1,00,000 a year, I can start off by setting aside, say, $10,000 every month from my salary the moment it comes. Again, it depends on what level of priority your travel is on.
Yeah.
But the only way to do it is just put it down on paper, start setting money aside from day one.
Right.
And whenever you get, say, ad hoc payments like a bonus, for instance, you could use those things to fund a travel rather than, the money which goes towards your other kharcha.
And a mistake sometimes people make is taking loans for personal things,
Never
which
do
is
that.
a big mistake.
No.
So don't ever take a loan to travel or, buy an iPhone. Those are just like really stupid mistakes.
So you're talking about loans versus like EMI
investing
and stuff.
for it.
No, I'm saying because
saving up for something over a period of time vis-a-vis taking a loan to fund that
pay
project.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of your personal expenses or a lot of the personal things that you want to spend on should always be from your investments, and then you can structure your investments in a way that pays for it, whether it's short term or medium term. So like if I want to buy a new phone or a new TV, that's a short term goal. Maybe like a holiday a year away from now is a medium term goal, and like a car or retirement is a much longer term goal. I know no one's thinking about retirement, but
we should.
We
We
should.
should.
In fact, you should start saving up for your retirement from your first paycheck. We
It's
are
okay,
all past that, but better late than never.
Better late than never.
We should have started this podcast many times years ago.
But don't take a loan for any personal stuff. Always invest for it and work backwards from, okay, my holiday is going to cost this amount, so if I put in this amount of money, I'll earn it.
100%
Exactly.
agreed.
There's another way also for this. Obviously, you set aside money and save up for it. You can also use tips and tricks to reduce the expenditure by way of, like we just spoke about, loyalty points.
Yeah.
We spoke about these apps. If you book your holidays well in advance, or you go through, go in like in an off season, those things help you to reduce your expenditure. And please, if you are looking up flight rates or hotel bookings and all, please use incognito mode.
Yes.
Do not use your regular mode, because that's what causes their search engine,
Spikes.
whatever the thing is, to really hike up the rates.
Yeah.
So even if it's just okay, I just feel like checking out the rates for this, do it on incognito or invisible mode. whether you're using
There's
your
a lot
phone
of people
or
that
your
don't know
computer.
this, namely my father. I keep telling him, like, Dad, no, we have to go secret. We have to go dark.
This
we cannot be searching in public.
I accidentally figured this out because a couple of years back I was looking up some flight rates, and on every website that I went, some ad kept coming up.
Yeah.
Showing me flight rates for that particular destination. Exactly.
These are these bad cookies.
I recently discovered this great widget. So it sits on your browser, and whichever site you go on to, it tells you discount coupons. Like it just runs through like millions.
What's
and
it
millions
called?
of coupons.
Let's tell everyone.
I think it's called Honey.
How is it spelled?
Honey.
Okay, Honey, a widget. Check it out. We don't know.
Yeah.
We will update you with the legit info.
But whether
also.
it's like Book My Show, Make My Trip, Nykaa, Sheen.
Amazing.
It runs through a whole bunch of things, and then it also tells you if you're not wasting money. Like if there's no discount code, it says you've got the best rate possible.
Wow.
And it's a great feeling.
Wow.
We are all suckers for these things.
I'm into this.
Also, I read somewhere, and I'm going to just put it out there, travel flight tickets are usually cheapest on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Oh, I think in the afternoon around 3 p.m. or so.
Weekends are the worst because that's when everyone has the time to sit down and actually plan a trip. Like Mondays and Fridays. Monday also is not such a good day because it's your first thing. You'll be coming back to work. You're like, hey, I got to do this. Tuesday is usually when everyone forgets. So I now have told everyone, and now we have screwed ourselves.
Yeah.
You're working against the algorithm.
There are 3 listeners. It's fine.
I want to ask a question about this monthly saving thing. From personal experience, I've recently started SIPs. And I didn't know anything about them, and I still don't fully understand it. But can you please help us understand SIPs?
So the biggest misconception is that an SIP
What
is
is an
a
SIP
product.
first?
An SIP stands for Systematic Investment Plan. That's the full form. It's not a product. It's a way of investing in a product which is widely known as mutual funds.
Ah, yes.
So we all know how like a bank recurring deposit works. Like every month you give them a fixed amount and you don't give them a lump sum. So a similar concept is applied to investing in mutual funds. So instead of saying, okay, here, take a lump sum of say 10 lakh rupees, you will tell them, okay, every month I've got 20, 30,000, whatever is the amount. This is what I'm going to invest in. You select a set of schemes that you want to invest in, and the fund picks up the mutual fund house picks up the money from your bank account every month.
And there's
or
no
every
like
week.
lower limit on it. It can be.
It starts from as low as $500, and in fact there are some schemes that offer you even 100 rupees a
That's
month.
great.
Yeah.
So even I think that's one of the questions.
Yeah, how low
that we
can you
had.
go with pocket
Yeah,
money and
because
SIPs?
especially with pocket money. Yeah,
Exactly.
correct.
So 100 rupees is as low as you can start off with a month.
And there are actually, like, because obviously the people who are listening to this are really young and on their phones all the time and don't go to the banks like our parents do. There are so many apps that you can use to invest. So you can directly link your bank to mutual fund, like fintech apps that invest in mutual funds for you. So then you can just do it like a direct
Yeah,
thing from
so
your
when
app
I came
itself.
to one of your seminars, there was an app called
Easy Plan.
Yes. But it's
Yeah.
spelled EAZSY normally. Easy
Yeah.
Plan.
Easy
Also, if
Plan.
any of these apps and plans want to pay us, this will be great opportunity.
But you can just directly invest in the mutual fund through your phone.
Yeah.
So that becomes really easy. And then you don't have to be so traditional about it. Like
Yeah.
you can kind of look around for apps that the interface you like or something that really helps you in terms of what your goals are. Maybe use 2 or 3 different apps depending on what you want out of it. But there are tons of apps, so you can kind of experiment as well. Because
Okay.
some of them also have like content given to you. So you can learn about what you're doing before you actually do it.
Amazing.
That's
That's-
another question that we have actually is this offer documents. Like, we hear this line again and again.
Please
and
read
again.
the offer documents carefully before investing.
Mutual funds are subject to market risk.
Yeah.
Now we know this. I just said risks instead of risks. Oops. Secondly, just quick question. This offer document that we're signing, is there anything that we should know? By and large, is it fine, or what are we signing away?
So when it comes to mutual funds, the offer document is very, very vast. So
Yes.
although ideally you should be reading it, it's not really possible.
Oh my
It's
God,
not
it's
gonna happen.
impossible.
There are certain things that you need to look out for which you need not always refer to an offer document. Like there are things like a lock-in period for how long you need to keep the money invested. What are the charges that the fund is going to put on your investment before they start paying you, over and above what returns they make for you. These details are available easily online on certain well-established websites like there's valueresearch.com.
Okay.
There's Morningstar. There's Money Control. So these three are like the
Amazing.
best go-to
That's
places.
good enough for us to start off with, yeah.
Having said that, it's a good idea to ask your advisor, whoever's advising you, that okay, these are my questions. Maybe they can let you know what pages or what sections of a document
you need to
these details are in, so that you can just give it a read on your own.
Yeah. I'm so glad Mohini mentioned advisor, because anyone who's investing should not do it on their own. As in, you can kind of learn about it and inform yourself so you can sound clever when you're having a conversation with your advisor, but always go to a professional or expert, because it's like either planning your own meals or going to a dietitian when you need to lose weight, right? You have a goal in mind. You can either get there haphazardly and take a really long time to do that, or you can go to an advisor and say, I need to earn X amount of money. Tell me based on my age and based on my profession and how much risk I can take. And it's called risk-taking capacity. How much, like my risk-taking capacity, what do you suggest for me? And then that advisor, amazing people like Mohini, will be like, okay, you should put so much in this, so much in this, and this is what you need to do, this is what you need to read, these are the red flags to look out for. They'll read these documents for you.
Yes.
And then help you plan it. At the end of the day, you still have to follow the diet, but they'll give you the diet plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
We have...
I have a recurring burning question, which actually came up a lot in our AMA also.
Yeah.
And I have the same question too. How to save taxes? By investing, right?
There are a couple of investments and expenses that give you certain deductions in tax. I'll just clarify this a little. So, for example, if I'm earning, say, 6 lakh rupees a year, that is my gross income.
Yeah.
Okay, there are certain expenditures and investments which, if at all you make, that amount is reduced from your gross income. So, for example, if I've made an expenditure / savings of 1 lakh rupees into any of these eligible avenues, then my taxable income is going to fall from 6 lakhs to 5 lakhs. So, in effect, the tax that I end up paying is going to be lesser.
Yes, correct.
Got it.
So, I'll just quickly go through a few avenues. Life insurance policies, PPF accounts. There's a specific category of mutual funds known as ELSS. If you make investments in this category of funds, they also give you a deduction.
ELSS stands for?
Equity Linked Savings Scheme. So it's like a regular mutual fund, but it has like a 3 years lock-in and it gives you this tax benefit.
Right.
I feel like I should be taking notes right
now. Really later.
I mean, you can go to missmanage.com and read about it.
Yes. Smooth plug.
But very needed, yeah. And then?
There are other expenses like the amount that you pay for your medical insurance. That's a tax deductible expenditure. So if I'm paying say $10,000 a year for my medical insurance, I can claim that as a deduction. Again, if once a little later in life when you have kids, if there are school fees that are to be paid, the tuition fees are tuition fees are also a deduction.
Yeah.
So there's a whole list of...
So as much as possible, you have to reduce your taxable income.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
By showing expenses.
Yes. So this is called as tax planning. There's one thing which is tax evasion, which is outside of... bad, very bad. So tax planning is staying within the limits of what the government allows us and reducing your tax payments. Oh, one more thing. If any of you all have any home loan payments going on, the interest that you pay on your home loans is also a deductible expense. I've come across so many clients who've been paying. Exactly. So they've been able to reduce their tax payments by like 20-30 grand a year, which is a good amount.
It's a good amount, yeah, for sure.
But guys, pay your taxes. In general, I think,
you have to.
Like, come on, be a responsible citizen, pay your tax, put it into the pot so we can get nothing out of it. Yeah, go ahead.
So, you know how we were talking about the hierarchy of needs earlier on in the show? I feel like even when it comes to you and your money journey, whether you're a student or you're like a corporate business person who's killing it with their salary, there's definitely like a hierarchy and order you have to follow when it comes to managing your money. So you'll first split your accounts into like your current and savings account, create an emergency fund for yourself. That's like the first thing you should do. Then things like insurance and stuff is what you should be spending on first. Then your tax saving investments, and then finally your investments like mutual funds and stuff. So if you go to an advisor, you'll know not to skip steps, and you'll know to do it responsibly, because it sounds attractive right now. I know SIP and mutual funds, everyone's doing it, and you should be ready to do that already. But definitely do it in the order, because in the long run, that's what pays off. You need health insurance. You need life insurance.
Fair.
You need an emergency fund if you ever lose your job. I hope none of you do, but in case.
Absolutely.
So there's a hierarchy for that too. Definitely talk to an expert about how to manage it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Natasha.
Okay, I think we can take one more question. We can take means Zasho, but sorry. There's this one that I liked it because I feel like he had a genuine question. He says he has a loan of 10 lakhs and he just started learning.
Earning.
He's also learning.
Earning and learning.
But he has a loan of 10 lakhs, just started earning. Should he pay it off or should he invest in his future?
Okay, so I think since the person says that they've just started earning, I'm assuming it's an education loan, because otherwise there's no other loan that they could have possibly gotten. Couple of things to consider: what is the rate of interest that is being paid? Secondly, if at all the person has any financial responsibilities or no, which I'm assuming is not the case right now. So if you don't, if your only expenditure is like yourself and your needs, it's better to pay off as much as possible early on. What also needs to be compared is what interest you're paying to the bank or whoever has lent you the money vis-a-vis if the same money was invested elsewhere, how much would that earn you? So for example, if you're getting a loan at 8% and if your investment is going to give you say 12%. 10 or 12% return, it is prudent to pay off the loan first, and it's prudent to continue making an investment towards putting your money towards the investment, because the interest rate differential of what you're paying versus what you're getting is in your favor.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
There are two ways in which you can sort of speed up paying your loans, repaying. One option is that you make lump sum payments from time to time. So every 6 months, every 1 year, you just pay off like a lump sum amount. Or you can go to your bank and you can tell them, okay, I want to increase my EMI.
Right.
So abhi main 10,000 de raha, I want to pay back say 15,000 a month. So they will restructure it. So your overall interest payment drastically reduces.
Right.
And you pay your loan faster.
Correct.
Okay, so I just want to say one thing. I think we've given a lot of information and it seems like, oh God, like bahut ho gaya. I'm not doing any of this.
This has been our longest episode till date.
No, but I wasn't concerned so much about the time. I was saying more that I don't think we should get overwhelmed by everything that they've said.
No.
It's actually very easy and you've broken it down quite simply.
Yeah.
So first step I think is see where you are in terms of your life and how much salary how much money is coming in on and what regular basis it is coming in on. And then, if possible, reach out to a financial advisor to take the next best step for you. Because I don't think a blanket advice can be put. That's one thing I've learned now, that everything doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
I mean, I think that's really important because we keep comparing ourselves. Like, I know as an entrepreneur, I keep comparing myself to my friends who get a salary and I'm like,
exactly.
Oh my God, I'm not doing anything with my life because I'm not, like, some months I don't pay myself a salary because I'm investing in my company. But depending on your lifestyle, it's really okay to do whatever's comfortable with you and wherever you are, because it's like it's an attitude transformation, right? You have to get there, you have to be comfortable, and you have to sustain it. Don't compare yourself to other people, but just make sure that it's a priority. Like, don't throw your hands up in the air and say someone else will handle my money. Wherever you are in your relationship with money, just own it and keep increasing it, and then you're good.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Oh God.
That was really beautiful.
No,
Natasha.
This episode you were not allowed to cry. There's nothing in this that can make you cry.
No, I think you articulated that so well. You need to, and this whole relationship with money thing is a thing. Because yesterday at therapy, my therapist asked me, what's your relationship with money? How is that? And then I have not really thought about it. And I have been thinking about it a lot more now. So that's why I'm moved, Ayushi.
Sorry.
F you.
Sorry.
But also, and a lot of people have asked these questions about as a creative, as a freelancer, going off on what Natasha said. I think you all should reach out to us privately also, because as a freelancer, I would be in a better position to chat with you all as a creative. And for people who've started their own businesses, I think Natasha has a lot of gyan to give.
I don't have that much gyan. Don't reach out to me for these things.
Ayushi
Why?
ko-
You're a salaried woman who spends on her credit card a lot.
But
so
the
you can
way
have healthy
I
habits when it comes to that.
But yeah, I think have the conversation. Don't shy away from talking about money. I think as a society and culture in general, we shy away from talking about it because we're either embarrassed about it.
पैसों की बात नहीं करते.
Yeah, or you're just kind of like, it's not nice to talk about money. But get out in the open, the
It's
more you
nice to
understand.
talk. I think it's important and we have to speak about money because money is important.
Exactly. And on that lovely note, get it? Oh, so bad.
Amazing.
But on that note, we are going to sign off and hope you enjoyed. Happy listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Mohini.
For being here. Yes.
And thank you, Ayushi.
Thanks, Dash.
To reach out to Natasha and to Mohini, you guys can follow Mismanage on Instagram. Their handle is MISSMANAGEINSTA. Mismanage Insta. And Ayushi is at Ayushi A9. As usual, I'm at Rytasha. So thank you for tuning in. Okay, see you all, hear you all, talk to you all next week.
Bye.
Catch Agla Station Adulthood every Thursday on the IVM app, the IVM website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that their insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.
Hi, I'm Satyajit.
Hi, I'm Racheta.
We are from the Open Library Project and we host a podcast called Paperback.
Paperback is a podcast where we engage with stalwarts and experts from various industries, suggesting non-fiction titles that contributed to their journey in a big way.
We've had guests like Anjali Raina, Dr. Marcus Rani, Dr. Swati Lodha, Ambi Parmeswaran, Apurva Damani, and many more on our show Paperback. Find new episodes every Wednesday on IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.